Shana, hey, and welcome. The video you're about to watch is part 1 of my pet peeves as an artist who does the occasional commission when people want them. And even though I don't get them often, I've still run into more than enough annoying people to have one hell of a lot of things to complain about. But I didn't have enough to say about each thing to give them their own video, so here we are. I will be splitting these things into parts that include a few at a time, as I do have a lot more to say on certain topics than others, and I don't want to keep you here for over an hour. Please note that all of this is based entirely off of my own personal experiences and the opinions formed by said experiences. You're more than welcome to disagree with me, as I'm aware that people with varying experiences will more than likely also have varying opinions, and you're more than welcome to have those. All I ask is that you disagree respectfully, and I will disagree respectfully back. This is not a video that will have examples of anybody in particular, but rather general retellings of similar situations to avoid anybody feeling targeted. But if you do feel like any of this sounds like things you have done to artists in the past, please know that I don't believe you're a bad person, but I do ask that maybe, just maybe, you take some time to think about this to avoid it happening again. Artists are people too. Please remember that. Also, I do want to add that I've made a video talking about commissions before, but that video is now very old, and I was way more stumbly over my words, didn't know what I wanted to say at all, and well, yeah. It's still up if you want to compare, but I feel like this one will be way more informative and more properly reflect my viewpoints in a way that holds up way better than the old video ever did. So without any further ramble, let's get into the first category that was more or less my entire old video, because I just have so many things to complain about with this particular category, which is the way that people price their commissions. I received more complaints about this than anything else when people have attempted to commission me. Sometimes it's not even people who come to me to ask for an actual commission. Their first message is literally just, "Your prices are too high," or "I really like your artwork, but you should charge less. I can't afford this." Or comparing it to other artists who would charge less than me. So if I want them as a customer, I apparently need to price match these cheaper artists. So why does this bother me? Well, I feel like it's quite self-explanatory, and anybody who has ever done a commission and charged a price appropriate and fair to the amount of time that the art actually takes to make has probably heard these things before. But if you haven't, these things might seem harmless, and I believe you lot are the ones who actually need to hear this. So let me explain. It's actually quite simple. Other people's prices and reasoning for their prices doesn't dictate what my artwork is worth and should not be used as a way to measure what I am allowed to charge without being overpriced. What you're used to having to pay, or what you can afford to pay, is not my problem, and I don't need to change my prices for you. That might sound rude, but when you think about it, it's completely reasonable for me to say that. Why is that, you might ask? Well, if you've ever set a foot in any store ever, you've probably seen that not all shampoos, for an example, cost the same. If you want a 3-in-1 extra large generic store brand one, that will of course be cheaper than if you want a more high-end shampoo, conditioner, and shower gel sold separately. And if you want to get a cheaper alternative, that is entirely up to you. But you can't expect it to make your hair feel as nice and healthy as the higher-end shampoo. Trust me, I've made this mistake of picking up a generic store brand one just once when I was out of town. My hair got so dry and frizzy that it wasn't even funny. The same can be said about artwork. You can't expect a professional artist who has been drawing for like 10 plus years and worked on multiple massive projects to charge the same amount as somebody who's only been drawing for a couple of months. Some artists can, will, and absolutely should charge a couple $100s. In many cases, even more than that. It's not overpriced just because you can't afford it. Prices vary from brand to brand with everything. Artists should be allowed to do the same. And also, if you found an artist whose art is on the exact same level as mine, but for like half the price, what are you arguing with me for? You have what you want right there. Go to that other artist instead. Or is it that simple that you just made up that artist to make me feel bad, so you can get my art at a much cheaper price by making me feel like I have to price match or lose out on a customer who clearly doesn't value my time and is just trying to get me to sell myself short? Honestly, I've declined commissions before. I'm not going to budge. The only time I offer a discount is if I want to, not because I was asked for it by a complete rando. Also, don't give me that whole, "Can't you lower the price for me just this once? Just for me?" No, I won't. Let me add on to that if you can't comfortably commission me without struggling to be able to afford essentials, you shouldn't be buying commissions. Save that money for important things. Don't waste it on me. I refuse to accept commissions from people who struggle with their economy because I don't want to encourage unhealthy spending habits and contribute to their struggles. Though, of course, not everybody who does this wants me to lower the prices for them. Some just get straight up offended when I ask for even the smallest coin in return for my work. I've had words such as selfish, fake artist, greedy, inconsiderate, and straight up bitch thrown at me for telling people that they do in fact need to pay. I said this in my last video. What sense does any of that even make? If you have done this and you don't understand why this behavior is not only very rude, but also doesn't make any sense whatsoever, let me lay it out for you, buddy. So, I'm an artist. I draw things and I offer my services for payment. You want me to draw you a thing for free because you don't think you have to pay for it. I say no because I spend a lot of time on my artwork and I want something in return for said time, so I'm asking to be compensated with money. You flip your shit at me for wanting something in return to make the exchange equal. You get your art, I get my money for the art. It's an equal trade. But you still think that I'm the selfish one because I want an equal trade. But you think you have every right to get something without giving anything back. Meaning that only you would gain something from this exchange, not me, whose time is being spent making you the thing. So, I'm the only one who needs to put in work, while you just sit there and do nothing? And give me nothing? Who's selfish here? I sure do wonder. And then, also the fact that a lot of people think that insulting me will make me change my mind? One thing people need to know about me here is that I never swing first. I hate arguments, and you can't seriously count my "sorry, but no, I won't do this for you for free, but if you pay me, then I will gladly get it done for you" as me swinging at you. But apparently a lot of people think that's acceptable just to try to get what they want. Responding with aggression to a no is not an okay thing to do, especially not in an otherwise non-aggressive situation. I don't know how many other artists who have had the misfortune of working with you that you have successfully bullied into giving you free art in the past, but that's not going to work on me, or any other artist with enough self-respect to stand their ground. We as artists deserve better than that. People just see us as machines who pump out artwork and who don't actually have lives of our own, when that couldn't have been further from the truth. Every single piece of artwork you see online, in art books, in games, cartoons, etc., were drawn by somebody. Art doesn't just appear. It's also not just a click click and there it is. Art takes time. I can to some extent understand that children don't understand this, especially children who haven't been drawing for very long. But when it's a fully grown adult who should know better, yeah, no, you have absolutely no excuse. People also love to use the argument, "Well, it doesn't cost you anything to make it, so why can't you just make it for me? It's not like you will lose anything if you do. You make art for yourself all the time anyway. What's the harm?" Okay, I hate this argument. No, honestly, I absolutely despise when people come to me with this, because this is just one of the few ones where people seriously don't get it when I try to explain myself, because they seem to have a counter argument for whatever I say, and don't just take a no for an answer because they feel like they have somehow cracked the system. As a digital artist, yeah, technically this is true. It doesn't cost me any money to sit down and make art then and there. But what it does cost me is my time that I could have spent working on artwork that somebody actually did pay me for, or personal artwork that I was making because I wanted to do so. I've also seen this argument being used towards traditional artists, and people who make physical items, such as charms, stickers, custom miniatures, etc. And in their case, this part of the argument is entirely false. Materials used for traditional art and physical things aren't free to get. It doesn't cost them anything to use it since the material is already paid, but the material does eventually run out. You can only sharpen a pencil so many times before it's unusable. Once you have a piece of clay turned into a finished product, you can't reuse it again, and that block of clay will eventually be gone too. And while this isn't the case for digital artists, my materials still weren't free. Whether I'm drawing on my iPad or on my tablet, both of those things costed me money. My tablet was roughly $700 to $800, while my iPad and Apple Pencil were about $500. I use Paint Tool Site 2 and Procreate for my art depending on which one I use, both of which are programs I paid for to have. Some art programs are subscription based, so that's a monthly fee that somehow needs to be covered. So while each individual picture doesn't cost anything, I still had to pay to be able to make it. And while you might not feel like it's making a difference if I draw something for you or for myself, since I don't exactly get paid for my personal art anyway, for me it's actually making a huge difference. Personal art is made for me to relax. Having someone coming and demanding things from me for free is certainly not helping me relax in the slightest bit. But the biggest reason as to why I refuse to fall into that and actually draw you something for free is because I do not want to reward you for that entitled behavior and further reinforcing it. Because if you're doing this to me, you either will or have successfully done this before, so you already don't value artists' time. The least I can do is to put my foot down, so maybe, just maybe, you will think twice before you try to manipulate someone else like that. It's the same with the "you still did for me just this once" argument a lot of people use. No, I've said no to so many people before you, and I will keep saying no to a lot of people after you. And if each artist for some reason has this just this once thing, what makes you think that you specifically should be that singular exception? Now, my guy, that's not gonna happen. But let's move on from people trying to get things for free, because there are actually people who are willing to pay. Just not the amount that you're asking for, and sometimes not even the currency you're asking for. A lot of websites have virtual currencies, such as Point on DeviantArt, Coins on Amino, etc. They are locked to that specific platform. While I do appreciate that it gives younger users a currency to do business with and to introduce into the commission scene, I have no use for these. To start off, they are worth next to nothing. 100 points is about $1. 100 coins is less than $1. And yet, people on Amino are now expecting high quality art for less than 500 coins. I'm not kidding. I see posts on Amino daily where people say that they're looking for high quality reference sheets with a budget of 400 coins, and that they won't accept anything under medium quality. Now, these quality labels are a whole other can of worms that I'd rather not break into right now, but that's still absolutely bonkers to me now, how people think that they can get that for less than $5. So I have commissions open. And I have my information on Amino as well. And it happens so often that people message me and say that they want to commission me, only to tell me that they have a budget of a few coins. This also is confusing as hell when they make posts saying that what they want and that they have a flexible budget, and when I ask them how much they're willing to spend, they state that they will be using coins and just assuming everybody is going to accept them. I've had to justify myself as to why I won't accept their coins, and why I wouldn't just take their 50 coins instead of the $50 I was asking for. And when I tell them I have no use for them, they tell me that I'm inconsiderate for not taking these coins or points because not everybody can use PayPal. I mean, come on, if you're going to demand that I accept your coins, at the very least offer me an amount that adds up to the amount of money I was asking for. I mean, I still wouldn't accept it, but at least it would have been a somewhat more fair trade. I'm going to be blunt for a second. It's not the artist's problem or fault if you can't use their preferred payment method. They aren't inconsiderate at all. You wouldn't go into a store and demand that a cashier let you pay with Tic Tacs and paperclips. It's just simple as that. This video is already getting kind of long, so let's just get into one more small thing to wrap this thing up and save the rest for another video. This is a way quicker thing to explain, which is when customers don't understand or refuse to acknowledge an artist's limits. Believe it or not, just because I can draw something that looks like people, that doesn't mean I can draw a highly detailed mech, or a vehicle, or things of the like. This is because that's not the field I'm in. I have no interest in drawing those things, so therefore, I didn't take it upon myself to learn to draw them. If an artist tells you that they can't draw something, they definitely know what they are talking about, and you're better off just asking someone else for it. Trust me, you will not get something of good quality if you're trying to get me to draw something I have little to no experience drawing. It's the same if you come and ask me for a photorealistic portrait. Yeah, no, I can't do that. I haven't practiced that, and if I try to do that now, I can promise you it would not turn out realistic at all. I'm a cartoonist, not a realism artist. Please go ask someone else. I know my prices might be cheaper than somebody who specializes in photorealism, but it's not at all my field. You wouldn't ask a chef to perform surgery because he knows how to chop up vegetables and meat perfectly. That doesn't mean he knows how to cut open a person and remove or repair an organ. That's two completely different knife using skills. Then there's also this case where some artists just simply aren't comfortable drawing certain things. Example, I'm not a gore artist. Again, I'm hemophobic. I can draw the occasional pastel or candy gore here and there, also some blood and wounds, but never straight up gore. I know a lot of people who aren't comfortable drawing not safe for work, but have still been asked to do so. Just literally go somewhere else. You don't need this artist in particular to do that for you. I get that sometimes it's hard to find the perfect artist within your budget. I struggle with that too. Sometimes I know exactly what I want, but I either can't find an artist who would be able to do it, or I do and I just simply don't have the money to commission them. It can be frustrating, but it's just how it is sometimes. You just have to keep looking and stop trying to force unqualified artists or uncomfortable artists to do what you want. Well, that was all I had for this video. I'll do the rest of my list in a later video, and I'm pretty sure I'll be able to find some more things along the way that aren't on the list yet, and then I will just make another part to this. Do you have any pet peeves when it comes to commissions? Feel free to share them down in the comment section below. I would love to hear them. I also have a few commissioned horror stories that I would be willing to share if that's something that y'all would like. Trust me, I have quite a few of those, because I've had quite a few horrible encounters. Just let me know if you'd be interested in that, and we'll see what I can do. But until then, take care, wash your hands, drink water, be kind, and I will see you in the next one. Hejdå!